Hey guys, Sublord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be continuing our looks at the Mythic Legions All-Stars 6+ wave with, spoiler alert, my least favorite figure in the wave. Nothing against the character, but this doesn't do a whole lot for me, and that is of course going to be none other than good old Bothar. There are two characters with names that are a letter off, people. Do not crucify me in the comments, please. Shadowhorn, brought to us by the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios. And I guess this guy, like Gorthok before him, is not so good old because he is a faction-jumping son of a gun. And he went from the army of Leodicius to the Legion of Erethyr, which is, well, filled with all kinds of stuff I like, except this guy. This guy is just kind of alright. I'll be honest with you, the dwarves, as far as Mythic Legions go, feel the most dated. I know we just got Scally Bone Splitter in this wave, but, you know, technically a skeleton. Is he really a dwarf? I don't know. Some people would argue, but, you know, my favorite dwarf is a skeleton one. Alright, let's not kid ourselves, but the dwarves feel the most dated. The only dwarf that's felt substantial to me in the life of this line that I have is King Bromden Ironjaw, and I guess Torgon Redfin. All the other ones just feel kind of meh. And this guy, unfortunately, falls into that category. Not to mention, wouldn't it have been better to get, like, Halmir Golden Tooth? Because this guy, to me, feels like a pretty main character, like Thord Ironjaw, who also needs, like, a reissue or an update because he goes for stupid money on the secondary market. I think Bromden Ironjaw is fine. Like King Bromden Ironjaw, that figure is fine the way it is. This guy and Thord would have benefited from those new parts from the Rising Sun wave, I think. I think a lot, actually. And considering the fact that they're like rivals and, you know, they're main-ish characters, I think we should have got Halmir Golden Tooth instead. And maybe instead of Sir Ignatius, we'll be taking a look at tomorrow, we could have got Sir Galaron, because I don't see Sir Galaron getting a version 2. I don't think he's that main of a character. Sir Ignatius feels like he's like Gideon's right-hand man, to me anyways, but that's just me. So, with that being said, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get to the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Bothar, whatever the crap you want to call him, has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with the little Naff and Thword, which has a little bit of schmutz on it, but I don't want to chip the paint. I didn't notice this knife has like little teeny tiny points like this on there. They're not as big, that's what she said, but they are noticeable, and I just noticed them now. I wonder if this is a different Naff than I'm used to. I thought these just went straight out. Weird. Very weird. But he's got those. The sword is like way too big for him, but whatever. Speaking of way too big, we got this giant axe here. The Malleus Special, as I like to call it. Because he's got two of these bad boys and a sword. Look out. You get the separate axe head to put on this axe, if you want to do that. I will say, be careful doing that. You don't want to break the little peg off. It is kind of tight, but I didn't have problems with mine. Knock on wood, stays that way. He also comes with the back adapters, if you want to make a winged dwarf for whatever reason. And that's your lot. So, you know, take it for what you will. Fairly basic in terms of accessories. Now looking at the figure, he's got the belt around his waist here. He's got horns on his helmet. They come packaged like this, but I think he's meant to have them down like this. A lot of promo images I see of this guy, they're down like this. They're even kind of sculpted to be that way, so I would just keep them down like that. That looks good. His head's fairly loose too. It don't take much to pop it off. But, you know, I suppose that's a good thing. If you're articulating him and whatnot. Because the beard doesn't weigh it down that much. It's not, like, loose or anything. But as far as articulation goes, his head will look side to side, up and down. As long as stuff ain't getting knocked up on him, I'll take his head off to look at the rest of the articulation, because he does have a swivel in the neck. That does work. The pauldrons will move out of the way so you can lift up the arms. Which, this little guy can actually two-hand that big arse axe, so if there's one thing to take away, it's that. So that's kind of cool. You can rotate the arms forward and back. He's got a single-jointed elbow with rotation, gauntlet twist, swivel hinge wrists. Those work fine. He's also got the ball-jointed waist that will move forward and back, tilt side to side, rotate. That's all fine and dandy. Pretty tight waist too. Hips will kick out to the side, back down, forward and back. Thigh cut, single-jointed knee. Whew. I love these rubber skirts because I don't gotta worry about like jacking them up. But he's got a swivel below the knee, swivel at the ankle with a hinge, rocker, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So that is Bothar, Bo, whatever. I'll have the name right in the title. Cut me some slack. But that is him in a nutshell. Fairly basic, you know. He's just kind of... I don't dislike him because he's a dwarf. I mean, dwarves are not my favorite thing, but I like dwarves. I think they can be quite jovial and fun, but the Mythic Legion's dwarves just seem kind of like bricks. Really cool looking bricks, but just stuff I can't do a lot with. The goblins have the benefit of coming out in Advent of Decay. They're a little bit more articulated, and I was just able to get more of them, so I can appreciate them more as a group, but I feel like dwarves are better in groups than standalone figures. Again, I think the only ones that really stand out on their own is like Torgon Redfin and King Bromden Ironjaw, because they have enough different stuff going on to where they are a little bit more standout-ish to me. But that's just me. I know there's a big following for the dwarves. There's a whole cult of you out there. There's also a cult for the goblins. Is there a cult for the skeleton people? If not, I might need to work on that. But at any rate, it's time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is once good old, but not good old anymore, because he's a faction jumping son of a gun, Bothar Shadowhorn, alongside the other dwarven character from this All-Stars 6+ wave. We have Scally Bone Splitter with the actual Scally Bone Splitter head this time. I realized I screwed up in my review and had the alternate head with the full beard and no skull face on him. Hence why the articulation was a bit lacking in the head. It's a little better with this head, still not great. I might swap the neck out for the skeleton neck from the Undead head pack, but he does in fact come packaged with the Scally head on him. I'm just stupid and didn't realize that. So, lesson learned, I guess. That said, we also have another character from the Legion of Erethyr. It's Gorthok. We looked at him yesterday. Check that out if you haven't already. Would really appreciate it if you did. He's a Shadow Orc. He's pretty freaking awesome, despite the fact that, yeah, he feels super dated compared to a lot of stuff in this wave. But I digress. So, getting these two out of the way, so we can make way for our two regulars, the Mythic Legions. I don't know why I've done that in like every other video. For this All-Stars wave, it's like, yeah, no kidding, it's Mythic Legions. He's in every other video. But, Brother Mandibilith, as long as well, not as long, it's as long as he's going to stay there, I guess. But, as well as the infamous 11 Spawn, who, as usual, towers over everyone. I am recording late at night and getting awful tired, guys. What do you want for free? This is a free show, alright? So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and if good old Bothar Shadowhorn has taught us anything, It's that the dwarf figures from Mythic Legions are in desperate need of those new parts from the Rising Suns wave to spruce them up substantially, if you ask me, because the dwarves, to me, are probably one of the weaker races along with elves in the Mythic Legions line, which is crazy to say considering how many both dwarves and elves we've gotten at this point. They just do not feel like they are on par with the likes of the goblins, the orcs, the skeletons, the vampires, you know, all the stuff I like. So I am very curious to see what the future holds for the dwarven race after we get those new parts in the Rising Suns wave. But for now, fortunately, Bothar Shadowhorn here is probably my least favorite of the reissues in this wave. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.